Hello, everyone. My name is Rip, and about 20 plus years ago, um, I believe the Lord opened my eyes to the meaning of Daniel 8 for our time, for the time that we're living in right now. It talks about Daniel seeing the vision and of a goat and a ram. I believe the goat represents the United States power that spans the whole globe. It says that, and the ram, I believe, is Iran, and also parts of or Turkey, basically Iran primarily, and then I think Turkey as well, or Azerbaijan, or it's in that region, because the Medes and Persians occupied parts of Turkey, mainly Iran. So I believe it's referring to Iran primarily, but it also might be Turkey with Iran at some point. But anyway, so in Daniel 8, it says, as I looked up, I saw a ram with two long horns standing beside the river Ulai, which is in Iran, at the fortress of Susa. This whole area where Daniel was in Iran. As I looked up, I saw a ram with two horns standing beside the river. One of the horns was longer than the other, even though it had grown up later than the other one. And I believe that means that, there was the power of Persia first, which was, and had the Persian Empire controlled a large part of the known world at that time. And that was the shorter horn. The later horn, which is the longer horn, horns represent power, is in our time. And Iran has had more power in the modern time because of nuclear weapons technology and stuff like that they're trying to develop. And before they got into war with Iraq and all that, they were very strong. They've been weakening, but they're going to have one last push, I believe. So anyway, the ram butted everything out of its way to the west, to the north, and to the south, and no one could stand against him or help his victims. He did as he pleased and became very great. So that ram, which represents Iran, and Iran's animal that they have, their mascot, or however you want to call it, is a ram. If you look it up, mind you, this was shown Daniel, and he didn't understand what it meant. And Gabriel comes to him later and explains. Jesus says, "Hey, I believe the Spirit of the Lord said to Gabriel, make this man to understand what the meaning of the vision is," and then he goes and explains it. So anyway, the ram, which represents Iran, butted everything out of its way to the west, to the north, and to the south, and no one could stand against him or help his victims. He did as he pleased and became very great. So I believe Iran is going to make a push militarily pretty soon. Then it says, while I was watching, suddenly a male goat appeared from the west. That's the United States of America and the American Empire, which is, in this passage, he refers to Greece, but the democracy of the United States was founded in Greece. So suddenly a male goat appears from the west, crossing the land so swiftly that he didn't even touch the ground. This is an aerial force. This is an aerial attack. This is what the United States does now, is they just have a massive aerial assault. They don't touch the ground. This goat, which had one very large horn between its eyes. Horns represent power again, the very large power of the United States. headed towards the two-horned ram that I had seen standing beside the river, rushing at him in rage. So something enrages the United States, and it's because Iran is pushing, is going into and militarily taking over larger areas besides Iran, and also maybe attacks on the United States too, because it says the goat is furious, and so the goat charged furiously at the ram and struck him, breaking off both his horns. Now the ram was helpless, and the goat knocked him down and trampled him. No one could rescue the ram from the goat's power. Now this is the New Living Translation, so it's kind of like common English speech, but there's some of the words and stuff are not exactly correct, but it makes it easy to understand in our common lingua. So no one could rescue the ram from the goat's power. The goat became very powerful after this, the United States, but at the height of his power, his large horn was broken off, so the United States loses its global power, and it's broken. In the large horn's place grew four prominent horns pointing in the four directions of the earth, meaning out of what was the global superpower of the United States. I mean, no empire has been larger, and it spans across. We have bases all across the globe. Our influence is all across the globe. It's broken, and out of that power vacuum comes four regional powers. And so I'm going to leave it at that. This is part one of this, what I understand these verses to mean. And so anyway, I will continue. But something's going to happen to infuriate the United States that Iran does. And then we're going to not touch the ground, but we're going to send a huge aerial force. And then the United States will wax even more powerful.